Okay. Well, Mr. Thomas, you can start your presentation for today. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Happy. Let me make sure I can share a screen.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Already. Okay, I'll open this so that I can see you all. All right, everybody. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the place where I come from, about Australia. If you guys have any questions at any time, you can raise your hand, or you can put your questions in the chat. I will be very happy to answer that. All right. Maybe you guys know something about Australia. What do you see in this picture? Can anybody tell me what this is? Or this one?
Kangaroo.
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 Okay, good. This one? Easy one.
Flag. Okay, the flag, Australia's flag.
Okay, what's this one?
I don't know what is it.
Does anybody know?
Boomerang. Boomerang.
A boomerang. Yes,
Oh,
good.
Yeah. Okay.
What can I do with a boomerang? What can I do with a boomerang? Anybody?
For hunting, maybe.
Yeah, for hunting. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone know this one?
Opera.
Opera House. Yes.
Opera House.
It makes me so happy. You guys really know Australia. That's great. Okay. How about this one? More difficult. Does anyone know what this is?
No.
No? Okay. I think we'll find out in a second. This one is called Uluru. How about this one?
A pie, maybe.
It's a pie. It's a meat pie.
Okay.
This is like my most loved Australian food. All right. We have so much to talk about. You know where Australia is. It's so close to you.
Yeah.
In fact, people from Australia have been traveling to Indonesia for maybe thousands of years. So, Australia is in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. We are a continent too, so we have no borders with anybody. We have 23 million people, and most of us live around here. We live all around the coast because everything here is desert. It is too dry to live. And I come from here. I come from Perth, way over in the corner here. Okay, we have different seasons to Americans and to Europe. So right now in Europe, it is summer. And in Australia, it is winter. It's so cold in Australia right now. In some parts of Australia now, you can find a little bit of snow. Have you guys ever seen snow?
Never.
Never. You know, I have never seen snow either. Snow is so rare in Australia. It's actually very hot there. So right now you can find snow in just a few parts of Australia, way up in the mountains. And I've never seen snow in my life. It's so sad. This is what Australia looks like. For most of the country, Australia looks like this. It looks like big cities. More than half of our population lives in either Sydney or Melbourne, which are big cities with big tall buildings and lots of concrete. For me, when I was a child, Australia looked like this. I lived in a little city, a little town by the coast, and we had wonderful clean beaches, great for swimming in summer. But for most of the country, it looks like this. It looks like red sand with very little trees. That's why most of our people don't live in most of the country. Now, can anybody tell me where did my great grandfather come from? He didn't come from Australia. What do you guys think?
Oh, he comes from.
Because most people who come from Australia 500 years ago, they have dark skin. Why don't I have dark skin? Where did my ancestors come from? Can anyone tell me?
From Europe, maybe.
Yeah, most Australians, their ancestors came from England.
Yeah.
Their ancestors came from England, and most of our ancestors were prisoners. They were criminals. So the government sent thousands of criminals, convicts, to Australia in 1788. They built farms, they built buildings, and they built a new settlement that grew into Australia. So Australia as a country. How old is Indonesia as a country? I will ask one of the students. Wulan, how old is Indonesia? When did Indonesia become a country, Wulan? I can't unmute her.
Sorry. Wulan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How old is Indonesia?
Do you still remember how old is Indonesia?
I'm forget. Maybe 70, 74.
Yeah, something like 74. So yeah, in 45, so it must be like 70, 76 now. Okay. But how old is Australia? Can anyone guess?
How old?
How old is Australia as a country?
As a country.
Because it was settled in the 1700s. We know that. Okay. What do you guys think? 200 years old? Australia was only made a country in 1901. So Australia's only like 120 years old.
1901.
So for 200 years from when people arrived from England until 1901, it was not a country. It was just people, just a settlement. Of course, we have our own special way of speaking English in Australia. We have words like Aussie, bonza, gala, g'day, mate, and yabba. I need you guys to practice these words. These are very important. Turn on your microphone, please.
Okay, turn on your
Turn on your microphone, everybody.
Turn on your microphone, Firda, Bulan, Vivi, Eliza. We practice saying these words.
Okay. So somebody from Australia is an Aussie.
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 Mhm.
Good. Something great is bonza.
Banza.
Yes.
Okay. Mhm.
A silly person is a gala.
Kela.
Good. Instead of hello, we can say g'day.
Good day.
G'day.
Good day.
Ah, so nice. Our friends we can call mates.
Mate.
Good.
Mate.
Okay.
Right now I am here to yabba. Yabba.
Yaba.
Yaba. Yaba.
Yaba.
And Australians have no R's on the end of their words. So it's bonza and yabba.
Banza.
Here's some Australian food. Oh, I'm so hungry. I miss all of this. All right, we have lamingtons, Vegemite, meat pies, Anzac biscuits, and pavlova. Have you ever had any Australian food?
No, yet.
No.
Never. Very sad. When I see you next time, I'll bring you some Vegemite. I
Okay.
love this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do it.
This stuff is super salty, and we put it on our bread, on our toast in the morning. Only people from Australia actually like it. Here's a famous Australian. Steve Irwin was famous for helping conserve Australian wildlife.
Crocodile hunter. Okay.
When he was working with wildlife for a TV show, he was killed by a stingray.
Mhm.
Very sad.
Mhm. I watched his show when I was a child.
You watched that show? Yeah, he was so great, right, Miss Happy?
Yeah, I was.
But he worked with animals right up until he died. He was killed by one of his animals in the wild. This is the middle of Australia with Uluru. Uluru is a very special place. You are no longer allowed to climb this because it's very special to the Aboriginal people in Australia. So please don't climb it. Here's some animals in Australia. These are all very interesting, but this is the only one that you can eat. So this is my favorite.
Emu.
Emu. Emu is my favorite. Kangaroos, we can also eat. I think kangaroos are delicious. Would you guys like to eat kangaroo?
Oh, never.
No.
No,
Yes, but never.
it's so good. It's like it's like beef, like a tough beef that you get in Rendang. It's so great. Of course, kangaroos are special because they have joeys. We know that. Koalas we can't eat. I don't think they're interesting because I can't eat them. They're cute though. They only eat leaves, so they actually sleep like 22 hours a day because they don't get enough energy from these leaves. This is the Great Barrier Reef. It is hundreds of kilometers long and it's full of beautiful fish. Sadly, the barrier reef is in big trouble because of climate change. You can see all this coral has turned white. That means this coral is dying because the ocean is getting warmer. It's just sad. This is the opera house, like you guys said. It's super cool. Most unique building. Now, these are the original people of Australia. The Aboriginals have been here for 50,000 years. And people like me from Europe have only been in Australia for less than 300, about 250 years. So Australia really doesn't belong to me. It belongs to guys like this. Australia belongs to guys like this. They lived there and lived happily hunting and gathering. They had no farms for 50,000 years. Amazing. What kind of animals do you think they hunted? Can anyone tell me? What animals did they hunt? I will ask someone else. How about Elisa? Elisa's being quiet.
Eliza? Where is Eliza? Eliza? Eliza, turn on your microphone and answer Mr. Thomas' question.
I think she's gone. Don't worry. Aboriginal people have their own instruments. They can play a didgeridoo, which is made of wood. So it's made from a solid piece of a tree that is hollowed out by termites. So by termites, raya, right? Make this hollow wooden pipe. And they can blow through it with their mouths to make beautiful music. Aboriginal people have their own art. They painted about their stories and their religion. They painted about the animals around them too. Now, I told you that most people in Australia live, where, Lily? Where do most people in Australia live? Miss Happy, where do most people in Australia live?
In a city, I don't know.
Yeah, in the city. They live in the city, they live near the ocean. Because most of Australia is desert. But some people in Australia, they do live in the desert. So this is a city close to my home where people do live in the desert, and it's called Kalgoorlie. You can see here pretty big, well, pretty small city for Indonesia. Has 30,000 people that live next to a huge hole. I'm gonna ask someone a question. How about Wulan? You've been helpful. Wulan, can you tell me, what do you think this hole is for?
Scary.
It's scary, yeah. Why is it there? Can anybody tell me, why do you think this big, huge hole is there in the desert? What is it for?
Is that hole?
Yeah, it's a hole. big city and a hole. Can anybody guess what it's for?
It's for mining, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it's for mining. Exactly.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Kalgoorlie was built just for mining. So Kalgoorlie is way out in the desert, 800 kilometers from Perth. And Kalgoorlie is 566 kilometers from water. So what can they do to get water? About 150 years ago, they built this enormous long pipe. It's 560 kilometers long. It goes all the way from Perth, from outside Perth, way into the desert. It carries all the water for this town because they have no rivers, they have no lakes, they have no rain, and all their
Only
water comes
desert.
from here.
Because only desert.
Only desert. It's a crazy place to live. Can you imagine living somewhere where it doesn't rain?
But you can live there. The people who can.
You can live there only because of this pipe. So they built this pipe 150 years ago. It took about 5 years for them to build it. And the man who designed it, C.Y. O'Connor, the man who controlled the project, he died before this pipe could ever be finished. So he didn't even know it would work. It's insane. So I want to give you guys an impression of how big this hole is. So this is the super pit. This is the super pit. You can see the size. You can see the size of the hole. So every one of these ramps, it has trucks on it. So these are the trucks on the roads leading down the hole. And this is the size of the trucks next to a person. So you can get an idea of just how big this thing is. It's crazy. I went there about 7 years ago, and I was shocked by the size of this thing. This is what the town looks like. So this is where people live. All this in the middle of the desert. They have a lot of historic buildings. And all of these bars are open 24 hours a day. So the people who work in mining can go to these bars and drink beer at any time of the morning or evening or the middle of the night. They can drink beer and eat Australian food 24 hours a day. Very unique place. Okay, so can you guys tell me very quick, what is this?
Sydney
Opera
Opera Sydney Opera House.
Good. Tell me some animals that live in Australia.
Kangaroo.
Uh-huh.
Koala.
Good.
Emu.
Emu, yeah, emu.
Good. You guys are smart. All right. So tell me something that Aboriginal people traditionally don't do.
Make batik.
You guys are smart.
Make batik only for Indonesia.
This is mine from Jogja. Okay. All right. That's all I have to present to you. I was wondering if you guys have any questions about my presentation. Does anybody want to
Okay.
ask me anything straight away? Happy, maybe you can lead.
No, the students first. Okay, students, do you have any question for Mr. Thomas?
Wulan, ma'am.
Okay, Wulan.
Mr. Thomas,
Oh,
I want to ask you, what is your first language?
my first language is English.
Oh,
Most people in Australia speak English as their first language.
Is there any local language also?
There are
Uh-huh.
so many local
Oh,
languages.
okay.
I will show you 1 second. I can show you some of the local languages. No. Because Europeans have been in Australia for how long?
100. 100 years.
Yeah, 200 years.
100.
200 years. And Aboriginal people have been in Australia for how long? Anybody?
Okay.
Can anyone tell me how long have Aboriginal people been in Australia? You remember?
30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
50,000
50,000 years.
50,000 years.
50,000 years. So if we go to every part of Australia and we talk to Aboriginal people there, they can talk to you like this. So every one of these colors is a different part, a different language.
Wow.
So every part of Australia has a different Aboriginal language. This is where I come from over here. They speak Noongar. They speak Noongar. But there are hundreds of Aboriginal languages that people still speak all over Australia. And of course, we have so many people from Asia and Europe that speak their own languages at home. So that's a great question. My grandfather's first language was Irish because he came from Ireland. All right. Wulan, do you have any follow-up questions?
Sorry?
Do you have any follow-up questions?
No, I think enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the other students, do you have any questions? Okay. Should I call you one by one again? Bilkis, Tara, Afifah, Nisroha, Nurul.
Oh, Miss Lily, I think, has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Nurul, okay. Nurul, what is your questions?
Enggak, ma'am. Enggak.
Sorry. No, okay. Ella.
Miss
Okay.
Lily.
Oh, Lily.
Lily raised her hand.
Yes, may I?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, hello, Mr. Thomas. It's really nice meeting you here. I have a question actually. Do you have any traditional food from your place?
Yeah, I guess these, if we talk about meat pies, they're probably like the most common food for like working people in the middle of the day. This is like this is like makanan rakyat for Australians. We love to eat meat pies, and you can buy them. You can buy them everywhere. All of these are traditional foods, but these ones are only for special occasions.
Wow, that looks like, if it's here, it looks like our special food, not our traditional food in Indonesia.
Yeah, these are the Lamingtons and the pavlova and the Anzac biscuits. They're special foods for special days. The Vegemite and meat pies are for every day. All right.
Vegemite, what is that made from?
Made from. Okay. Do you guys know what is yeast? Yeast is ragi.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So when you use ragi to make beer, there is some like byproduct. This byproduct is not alcoholic, but it's very salty and sticky. And this salty and sticky stuff is the Vegemite.
Okay.
I see.
So it's very, it tastes kind of like salty soy sauce. Tastes like ketchup asin, but very sticky and very strong. We put it on our bread. Put it on our bread to eat in the morning.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. And how about Indonesian food? What is your favorite food while you came to Indonesia?
Ooh. My favorite food in Indonesia, it changes a lot. I love rendang. I love ayam geprek.
The student
else?
favorite food, ayam geprek.
Wow.
Yeah, ayam geprek is really good when I want something pretty cheap and
Spicy.
Spicy, something to eat with a lot of rice. That's nice. And I love terang bulan. Terang bulan is great.
Sweet
What's that mean, like martabak?
Sweet martabak.
Yeah, right.
Sweet
Martabak manis.
Martabak manis.
Wow, that's so cool.
What do you call it in Surabaya? Kue bandung or what?
Terang bulan.
Terang bulan.
Terang
Right.
bulan. Yeah.
Mr.
Fantastic.
Thomas,
Yes.
so have you ever eat
I'm sorry?
ayam geprek?
Ayam geprek.
Oh yeah. My favorite ayam geprek is in Surabaya. Mr. Suprek. Do you know that one? That's my favorite ayam geprek.
Oh, Mr. Supre. Yeah, I know.
I love that one.
Okay.
When I lived in Surabaya years ago, I lived in Tenggilis.
Tenggilis. Tenggilis, yeah.
So I used to eat ayam geprek from Mr. Suprek there in Tenggilis all the time.
How many times do you visit Indonesia, Mr. Thomas?
Okay, so
Not how many times, I think. How long? How long have you been in Indonesia?
Okay, well, actually, I can say both. I lived in Indonesia for 6 years.
Wow.
But I visited Indonesia maybe 4 or 5 times before that.
So which places that you visited?
In Indonesia?
Yes.
So before I lived here, I visited Lombok and Bali. So only those places before I lived here. Now that I live here, I've visited lots of places in Indonesia. So yeah, now I've been to all over East Java, all over Yogyakarta, Central Java, and Bali and Lombok, Madura as well.
Madura also?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went.
What city?
I went by motorbike all over Madura. So I went to way up around Pamekasan and
Makassar, Sumenep, also Bangkalan.
all around and then back down the bridge.
Okay, around the Madura Island.
Yeah. But it was a long time ago. It was maybe 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
And the roads were not good 5 years ago. Very difficult to ride around Madura. Now it's so much easier.
Yeah, I know. I grew up in Madura house.
Yeah, it's like the roads were still like rock.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was beautiful. Somebody invited me to their wedding.
Wedding party in Madura.
Yeah, I was passing by somebody's wedding party and they took me in. And I ate their food and listened to their music and got back on my motorbike. It was wonderful.
Okay. Any other questions, guys, from the students?
I wanna.
Sophia. Okay, Sophia.
Is Australian staple food?
Staple food. Oh, I guess so. Because we have so many people from different countries. About half the population of Australia, their parents were not born in Australia. So everybody eats whatever they ate from their old country. So we eat a lot of pasta, a lot of bread, and if you're from an Asian culture, you eat a lot of rice as well. So I guess for people like me, when I grew up, it was pasta and bread. And potatoes, of course, potatoes. All right. Good question.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sophia.
So in Australia, there is a field. There are field. It's like in
rice field or corn field, just like
actually, Australia has a huge amount of wheat fields. So because Australia is mostly desert, we need something to grow that doesn't use a lot of water. So we have places like, one second. We have places like this. So it's very big and very dry. This is what the ground looks like. And they can still grow wheat there. I guess that's why we eat a lot of bread, because we grow a lot of wheat. We have rice fields actually in the north of the country, because the north of the country is not so dry. So we have rice fields like this. Our rice fields are big and flat, not like Indonesian rice fields. Big and flat like this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. The other questions, please. Another question. Lasma,
Yes, ma'am.
are you sleepy, Lasma? Yunda, Vivi. Okay, Vivi, do you have a question?
Nothing, ma'am. Nothing.
Okay.
I'm curious about the taste of emu. It's similar like a chicken.
Whoa.
Okay.
Remember I told you that kangaroos are delicious and I like to eat kangaroos. Oh, got a sound. Yeah, kangaroos are delicious, but emus are not delicious at all. Emu tastes like it's not like a chicken, it's like a turkey. If you ever had turkey, it's very, very dry and it has this weird, like strong flavor, like a bit like a goat. And I couldn't recommend it at all. Thank you for your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is it enough, Vivi? Do you still have another question, Vivi?
Enough.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Vivi. Another question, please, from the other students. Okay, Afifa or maybe Anwar. Anwar in Afifa's screen, I think. I see. Yeah, I see Anwar in Afifa's screen. Okay.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Thomas.
Hi.
I want to ask something about your country.
Okay.
About years ago, we have same problem with our countries that there is a disaster happened to our country, just like the forest is burned.
Uh-huh.
How about the animals right there? I see so many kangaroo and koala was dead. So how about the government talking about that disaster? Thank you.
Oh yeah, sure. Great question. It's a huge problem. Yeah, that bushfires are getting worse, and a lot of animals like wombats and native birds, koalas were killed in these fires. It's it's a huge problem, and the government has some special areas to try and protect koalas. Nobody is allowed to kill or hurt a koala in Australia. Um, so they're doing their best, but it's not only fires. Our native animals are also under threat from diseases and development. Too many people are building houses and farms in Australia, and they're losing a lot of forest from that too. Yeah, so to answer your question, I don't know. I don't think the government is doing enough. There are still a lot of problems for our animals.
And
Mhm.
how about the kangaroo? Is the kangaroo is spread almost in the place of Australia, or maybe only located in one place? Maybe.
In a certain
Um,
place.
Actually, we have too many kangaroos. We have only 20 million kangaroos in, sorry, 20 million kangaroos. We have only 20 million people in Australia, but we have over 50 million kangaroos. So there are twice as many kangaroos as people. You can, you can find them anywhere where there is grass and there are no people. So if you go to a golf course, or if you go out of the town, you'll find kangaroos there.
And is the white kangaroo is dangerous, sir?
They are dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They are so master while boxing, you know, in the movie. They
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kangaroo Jack
Yeah, they will.
movie.
They will not be friendly to humans. They're wild animals. They won't bite you. They only eat leaves and grass, but they don't like you. they, will kick you or punch you or attack you if you get too close. Yeah. Great question. They're also really dangerous for your car. If you are driving in the bush, you have to watch for kangaroos because they jump and they travel in groups. So they can jump onto the road and destroy your car. It's a big problem.
They are disaster.
Yeah, yeah, they're a disaster. Of course, they're native animals. We love them, but they are more dangerous than endangered.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, Anwar. Any other questions from the others? Elisa, Miss Roha, Sai. Okay. Actually, I'm curious about the Aboriginal people. Do they live together with with the people from European, from England, or they live separately in a certain place? The Aboriginal
Both.
people.
That's a great question, and the answer is both. So
Okay.
a lot of Aboriginal people live very similar lives to what we do. They live together with white people and Asian people, going to school and working together. And some Aboriginal people, many Aboriginal people, live in settlements. They live in the middle of nowhere, in towns where they can live their traditional life. I want to show you something real quick. 1 second. Because somebody asked me about kangaroos and I wasn't sure what to tell them. Oh no, I've lost your window. One second, guys.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Somebody asked me if kangaroos are dangerous. So the best thing I can do is show you this.
As the dog swims out to meet it, it lets the dog get close and lunges, using all its weight to keep the dog under until it drowns.
The kangaroo can stand in quite deep water and the dog can't touch the bottom, at which point they can then grab it and hold it underwater.
Margaret Acton is terrified for her dog Jess.
My thought was, well, I'm the only one here that's going to stop that from happening. I'll continue closer, and I fall to the ground.
Suddenly, the kangaroo turns its attack from the dog to Margaret.
I went to get up, and I was just met with an almighty strike.
This is very dramatic. But yes, kangaroos can attack people, and they can try to drown other animals that are threatening to the kangaroo. Very scary. So, yes. Miss Happy asked me about Aboriginal people. So I can show you guys. The sort of settlements that many of them live in today. So you can see these guys are Aboriginal rugby players. They're sportsmen playing rugby. They're playing rugby for Australian teams. This is where about half of Aboriginal people live today. They live in very remote places. They can live traditionally in small houses. But the other half live with us and like us. Although they still have their own music, their own dances, and their own religious beliefs. And of course, their own language. Really amazing people. All right. I want to stop talking. Any other questions?
Any other questions from the other students? Or I will ask another question. Okay, the students first. Okay, guys. Tara, Ella. Why are they so silent today? Okay. 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 Let me ask you another questions.
Okay.
Okay. About the what is it? Rugby. I think the rugby is the favorite sport in Australia. Okay.
I don't know anything about rugby. Great question. I don't know. Rugby is the third most popular sport in Australia. Most people play Australian football and cricket. So cricket is played in the summer with a big bat, and a game of cricket takes a whole day. And Australian football is only played in Australia. And it looks like this.
Australian football, so it is different with the other football.
It is.
It's got bone-on-bone hits without pads. No, it's not rugby. It's Australian football, although you might hear it called Aussie rules or even footy. This is Australia's biggest sport, and is now played professionally by 18 teams in the AFL. It has the fourth highest average attendance of any domestic sports league in the world. These are some serious fans. What do you say we talk basics? Aussie rules is played on a football field probably bigger than any you've ever seen, with an egg-shaped ball that takes some crazy bounces. Each team consists of 18 players on the field and 4 on the bench. Tremendous athletes, these players are basketball-sized with the hands and foot speed of an NFL wide receiver and stamina greater than a soccer player.
This is interesting. It's a main event in any stadium in the world.
The game's
So that is Australian football. It's very, very violent and very fun and very fast.
Okay, so have you ever played the Australian football?
Of course,
Okay.
of course. I think almost every Australian man has played this sport. Yeah.
So what team did you belong to?
I belong to a local team called the Safety Base Stingers. Safety Base Stingers, and I was not very good at it because I was too small and too skinny. This game is too tough and strong for me.
Okay, another question, please.
Eliza, ma'am.
Okay, Eliza.
I just curious about Aboriginal people. What language do they use?
So most of them, over 90% of them speak English now, but they have hundreds of languages. Like I might have showed you before. I will show you one of them. 1 second. Yeah. This is the language from my town.
Kaya, Wanju Wanju, which means hello and welcome. My name is Marion Kiggett, and I'm the Director of the Centre for Aboriginal Studies at Curtin University in Western Australia. The Noongar people are the original inhabitants of the southwest of Western Australia and have lived here for tens of thousands of years. Today, Noongar people bring ancient knowledge and rich cultural traditions into the contemporary Australian society. In this course, we will teach you a range of Noongar words and phrases that you can use in conversations as we guide you through different aspects to do with our culture.
Nija ngany, nija ngalang buja.
Nija kumung, borna, nyat, ninan.
Jenengan bau. Kara kumba jenengan bau.
This will include looking at the 6 Noongar seasons, bush medicines and bush tucker, and why connection to country is so important to us.
Great question. Thank you.
Eliza, what is Eliza? Do you still have another question?
No, ma'am. Enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Mr.
Eliza.
Thomas.
Thank you.
Another question, please. Firda, maybe? Nur Firdaus. Okay. No, okay.
Okay.
So I ask another questions? Can okay, it's okay. How about Sydney Opera House? Have you ever been to Sydney Opera House, or and what kind of performance they usually perform there? They usually perform there.
Good question. I've been there. They have all kinds of performances there. You know, modern concerts, just like any other stadium or concert hall. So, yeah, I don't know what kind of performances. Opera, of course. Yeah. We have so much time left. We still have an hour. What are we gonna do?
No, that's half an hour, I think. Okay.
Oh, half an hour.
Half
Okay.
an hour. Okay. Another question, please. Okay. Should I ask another question? Okay. Okay, I will call them one by one. Wulan, do you still have another question, Wulan? No? I think Wulan will ask
Later, ma'am.
Oh yeah, okay. Afifa.
Wait, ma'am.
Okay, Elisa again.
Where do Australian usually spend the weekend?
Oh, at the beach. At the beach, of course. Great question. But of course, you know, so many of us live in cities, so we go to restaurants and bars and cinemas when there's no COVID anyway.
To the beach. Is it enough, Elisa?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, another questions? Okay. Sorry, Wulan, yeah. Okay.
Mr. Thomas, as a teacher, what is your difficulty based on your experience?
Oh, what is my difficulty?
In teaching Indonesian students?
In teaching Indonesian students?
Yeah.
Getting them to do their homework.
Yeah, we are lazy to do homework.
It's very difficult to get Indonesian students to do their homework. That is my number one challenge. Miss Happy, have you ever experienced this?
Yes.
Yes? So it's not only me then.
Yeah,
okay. How about in your class? Do you have any students who always do their homework?
I think they do homework, but okay, they submit very late, I think. Okay, maybe a week after the deadline.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Some of them are laughing, so they are smiling. So they, I think
they know.
I think they know. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And what is your solution? Maybe I can imitate your way to solve the solution about the homework. Okay.
The only thing I have found is that Indonesian people are not selfish. Okay, Indonesian people love their friends and love their family very much. So if you can set group work so that every member needs something from the other people, they will be more likely to do it because they want to support each other, even if they don't want to do their homework.
Yeah, okay.
So that's my solution, is to find tasks that that need help from each other that you can't do by yourself.
I think I need Anwar here. Anwar, where is Anwar? Afifah, where is Anwar? Oh, okay. It's okay. Anwar always submit his work late because he is working. He has part-time job, so he always submit his assignment very late. Okay.
I had the same problem when I was part-time at university. I worked at McDonald's, and sometimes it would be so difficult to do things on time. I was busy at McDonald's. Okay.
And what was your lecturer reaction?
They took marks off me. They didn't complain. They would just reduce my mark by 10% per day.
Just reducing your mark.
Yeah, they reduce my mark. They don't take any excuses.
No punishment for you? No.
The reduction of mark was enough. It's a big punishment for me. I don't like that.
So I should continue my study in Australia then. So I
Well, what kind of punishment can you have? What kind of punishment do you give?
I never punish the students. But the other lecturer maybe punish the students.
What will they do? I didn't know this was an option.
Elisa. But Elisa never. But Elisa always delete. Elisa is diligent students. He never.
Okay.
Late.
But my lecturers, they weren't allowed to punish me. They couldn't do anything except reduce my mark. How can they punish you? What do they do?
Because Mom Happy is a kind person.
No.
I never punish the students.
No, you don't.
Like you, just reduce the mark. Okay. So one day late maybe. Okay. One day late maybe 5 points. 2 days late 10 points. A week late 30 points.
Wow.
Maybe.
So
like that.
These other lecturers, they punish them. What do? Do they beat them?
Okay. How about the other lecturer, Elisa?
Sorry, ma'am.
How about the other lecturers? Do they give you punishment if you submit your assignment late? No. Oh no.
No, I think.
No, but less score.
Let's score like me, yeah.
Okay. Reasonable.
Sorry, Afifah?
The punishment is with one.
Oh, okay. Similar with my punishment. Reduce the scores. Okay.
Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you one more thing that might be interesting. I mentioned that Europeans first came to Australia about 200 years ago, 250 years ago. But how about before that? Was there any, do you guys know, was there any contact between Aboriginal people and Indonesians? No?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Don't think so? Let's take a look. Let's have a look.
A journey that, after 25 days at sea, this boat has sailed into Australian waters, a journey that's been conducted for centuries. The traditional Indonesian prau was purpose-built as part of a documentary project to raise awareness of historical trading between Muslim Macassans and Yolngu people from northeast Arnhem Land. It's a history which predates European colonisation.
The Muslim community in Sydney has funded this, self-funded it. Their motivation, as far as I believe, is that they want their young people to understand that they have a long, rich history and connection with the Aboriginal culture up in Arnhem Land.
The reliving of this connection between Macassans and between the First Nations people of Australia is going to have a profound and significant effect on these young men.
The boat was built and launched by hundreds of people on the beach at Tanah Baru in Sulawesi. It then sailed to the city of Makassar and followed a traditional trading route southwest and travelling around the coast of Timor, before making a stop in Darwin to pass customs. After clearing quarantine checks, it will travel on to northeast Arnhem Land and is aiming to reach the Gove Peninsula by mid-February. The trip to Darwin wasn't without its challenges.
Twice is broken and the sail is broken.
But the crew were able to make some quick fixes on the go.
In the end, we had to go into a forest and cut down 2 trees and make new rudders. And they last now, they're really good.
Sheikh Chakawi hopes telling this story will give Muslim kids a piece of Australian history they can connect to.
A lot of the youth that I work with are confused. They don't regard Australia as their home because of this discourse, because of the current narrative that they're stuck in.
And an opportunity for the Macassan sailors and Yolngu people in Arnhem Land to revisit a connection that dates back to well before Europeans arrived. Kate Ashton, ABC News.
So these boats came from Sulawesi, from Makassar down to Australia around 500 years ago, before any British or Europeans came to Australia. Would you guys like to travel by boat like that to Australia?
Not by boat, maybe.
Not by boat? Why not?
How long does it take?
Yeah, just
by boat.
Just a few weeks.
Few weeks? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice and traditional and relaxing. No?
No. Okay, no, not by boat. Okay.
You're such a city girl now.
Okay.
Don't want to travel in the traditional way. Okay. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah. Any more questions from the others? Okay.
No? Okay.
I don't know what to say, but what's wrong with today? Okay. Afifa is smiling. Where is Tara? Okay. 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 When you came to Indonesia, Mr. Thomas, in what year is it?
In what year? It was the first time I came to Indonesia was in 2011.
2011.
2011, yeah. But when I moved here was 2014.
2014. Okay. Did you feel some cultural shock or did you feel to adjust to some culture in Indonesia, especially in Java?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because I already studied Indonesian language a little bit in primary school. In Sekolah Dasar, we study Indonesian language, but it took me a while to get used to being so close to everybody. It took me a while to get used to, because I lived in a boarding house, like most of you guys. I lived in a class. And it took me a while to get used to like talking to my neighbors all the time, and eating with my neighbors and sharing food with my neighbors and that kind of thing. I wasn't used to doing that in Australia, and it took some time to adjust. Does anybody here live in a boarding house? Who lives in a boarding house?
I once lived in a boarding house, but not now.
Not now. That's good. You're too old to live in a boarding house now.
Yeah. Some years ago, I lived in boarding house. Okay.
Did you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I like it. Yes or no? Yes and no.
Okay, yes and no.
Mhm.
Okay, what about you guys? Who here lives in a boarding house? Put up your hands.
I think no, they don't live in their boarding house. I think they.
Oh, they don't?
No, no. Okay, because our university is near their house, so yeah.
They live at home. They're lucky.
But okay, but maybe Fifi is Fifi when she was in senior high school. Senior high school, she live in boarding house ya Fifi.
Oh, I see.
No, apa? Sorry. Asrama ya? Oh, enggak. Okay. Okay.
Right.
So I'm wrong. Sorry, Fifi.
Second, ma'am.
Okay.
Arifah, ma'am.
Sorry, Arifah. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. What else can I share with you? Maybe you guys want to ask any questions about me, about my family, about what I do.
Okay, so where do you live now, Mr. Thomas?
I live in Semarang.
In Semarang, okay. And how long have you been in Semarang?
I've been here for 2 years.
3 years.
2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Before that, I lived in Surabaya, and before that, I lived in Lombok.
Okay. Actually, personal questions. Okay, you told me earlier when we first that you knew my WhatsApp number from Pak Dewa. Okay, and how do you know Pak Dewa?
How do I know Pak Dewa? Oh, Pak Dewa was Pak Dewa was my Indonesian teacher for a while.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he helped me with my Indonesian. I still need a lot more help. My Indonesian is not very good sometimes.
So he was your teacher when he came to Australia? No?
He was my teacher in Surabaya.
Oh, in Surabaya. Because Pak Dewa also got scholarship in Australia also. I think.
Right. Yeah. But Dewa is a very talented interpreter. He's really, really good at live translation, better than anyone else I've ever seen.
Yes, I agree with you.
You know, listening to Indonesian and speaking English at the same time, and the other way around as well. It's almost impossible. You need to change the way that your brain works. Crazy.
Yes. He is a great interpreter, I think.
Yeah. He's a good teacher too.
No, actually no, but he once become our speaker, in webinar about translation and interpretations a year ago.
Right. Very cool. I want to show you guys. Yeah, I will show you guys my family. This is my family. We have a 3-year-old boy, and we just welcomed a new baby.
Oh.
at the end of last year. So we live together here in Semarang. Miss Happy, do you have a family?
Yes.
How many children?
2 children.
Oh, like me. So sweet. How old are they?
My son is 9 years old and my daughter is almost 4 years old.
Very sweet. Very sweet. Okay. So any more questions, guys?
Okay. Is it enough, guys? Do you still have any other question, or is it enough for today? Because maybe Mr. Thomas still have any activities after this. So
I have lots
of
of
activities.
classes.
Okay. So if it is enough for today's meeting, we can please turn on your camera. Maybe we can take picture together with Mr. Thomas. Ya itu say hi dulu. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
How you doing?
Ya udah ya. Ibu. Salam. Sama bapaknya ibu. Itu dosa. Iya. Tak boleh rame. Tak boleh rame.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sorry. Excuse me, Pak Bal. Okay, sorry.
Sure.
Ya udah. Okay. Ya dadah.
So then if we're going to take a picture, let's turn on your cameras,
Turn on your
everybody.
camera, please. Please everyone, turn on your camera. Are you sure that you don't have any more questions, guys? Because actually we still have 10 minutes, but okay. Sai, Bisroha, please turn on your camera. Tara, Yunda. Okay, only. Eliza, where are you?
Oh my goodness.
Eliza.
So many people.
Yeah, they joined the Zoom. Ari, okay.
Saya bareng sama teman-teman, Mem.
Ya, it's okay.
Nggak apa-apa.
It's okay, nggak apa-apa. Okay.
Tidak bisa sepenuhnya pay attention, soalnya bantu bazar.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, Tara. In Bilqis Sofia's screen, there are Arinal and who else? Okay, Zaina. Okay, where is Eliza? Eliza? Okay, it's okay. Okay, get ready ya. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
One more, Mem. One more. Tadi dulu nggak lihat.
One more. Okay, wait. Full screen.
Mem punya Sriwidya sama Siti Lela belum di ACC.
Apanya? Iya, soalnya keluar masuk dari tadi ya Zoom-nya. Come in and go out. Okay, once more. Smile. 1, 2, 3, smile, please. Sudah. Okay, sudah. Okay, Thomas, thank you for your time for today. I really appreciate your time.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Much, yeah.
All right.
Nice to talk to you. Nice talking to you, Thomas.
Bye, everybody. Sampai ketemu lagi.
Ya, sampai ketemu.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Can you speak bahasa Jawa, Thomas?
Belum bisa sih.
Belum bisa. Matur suwun, maybe.
Ya, ini apa? Seharusnya saya belajar bahasa Indonesia dulu. Kalau sudah lancar, baru bisa bahasa Jawa.
Bahasa Jawa, oke. Bahasa Indonesia dulu. Terima kasih.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.